All right, my friend. Let's talk facts. You probably didn't have Sadik Charles on your radar this offseason, and I get it. But that's exactly why this move by the Cowboys is so fascinating. Because here's the truth. This isn't just a name filling up the roster. This is a calculated move. Let me show you why. Sadik Charles is not some random journeyman. This guy was a standout offensive lineman at LSU from 2017 to 2019. Physical, mean, aggressive. The kind of player you notice on the field. He helped Joe Burrow and that stacked LSU squad win a national championship, and his performance was solid enough for Washington to draft him in the 4th round of the 2020 NFL Draft. Now here's where it gets interesting. Charles earned starting snaps in Washington, 18 starts in 35 games. That's not easy to do in the NFL, and in 2023, he even locked down a full-time starting role. Then he signs a 1-year deal with the Titans for 2024, earns a starting spot in camp, and suddenly retires before the season even starts. No injury reports, no major scandal, just gone. But now, he's back, out of nowhere, and not with just any team, with the Dallas Cowboys. That's the part that makes you think, right? Why now? What changed? Did the Cowboys see something on tape? Did they talk to him and realize his head's back in the game? Or maybe they believe their coaching staff has what it takes to reignite a player with raw ability. Whatever it is, it's clear they're betting on Charles to be more than just a body in camp. And let me ask you something. Do you remember Sadik Charles from his LSU days? Be honest. Drop your answer in the comments. Did you already know his name, or were you totally caught off guard by this move? And hey, if you like these deep dives on hidden gems and smart moves by the Cowboys, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and turn on that notification bell. Your support helps us grow, and we're pushing hard to hit our goal of 13,000 subscribers this month. Let's do this together. Let's roll into what this move really tells us about the Cowboys' game plan. So now that you know who Sadik Charles is, let's dig into the why. Why would the Cowboys, one of the most scrutinized franchises in football, bring in a guy who literally walked away from the game just months ago? The answer? It's a mix of talent, opportunity, and belief in coaching. Let me break it down. First off, Charles isn't some wild flyer. He's 6'4", 320 pounds, with quick feet, a nasty streak, and a mindset that offensive line coaches love. He finishes plays, looks for work, and doesn't quit on a rep. That's not something you can teach. He showed flashes of it in Washington and again in Tennessee before his unexpected exit. So what do the Cowboys see? They see a guy who can play. That's a key phrase in this league. Not a project, not a gamble. A guy who's already proven he belongs. He just needs the right situation to thrive. Now think about what's going on behind the scenes. The Cowboys just overhauled their coaching staff. Brian Schottenheimer is in, and there's a whole new energy around the team. These coaches believe they can unlock players that other teams couldn't. And that's exactly the bet here. This move tells us something important about the Cowboys' front office too. It shows that they're playing chess, not checkers. Instead of waiting until the draft to address depth, they're stacking talent now. Cheap, low-risk, high-upside talent. That way, when the draft rolls around, they're not desperate. They can go get best player available, and that's the kind of strategy smart teams use to stay competitive year after year. So let me ask you, straight up, do you trust this coaching staff to develop players like Sadik Charles into real contributors? Vote in the poll right now. Yes, I believe in them. I still have doubts. Drop your thoughts in the comments too. I want to know where you stand. And if you're vibing with this breakdown, do us a solid like this video, share it with a fellow Cowboys fan, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Every click helps us climb closer to that 13K subscriber milestone. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Could Charles really be the successor to Zack Martin? All right, fan. It's time to face the biggest question floating around this whole Sadik Charles signing. Is he really here to replace Zack Martin? That's a loaded question. Let's unpack it. Zack Martin isn't just any offensive lineman. He's a future Hall of Famer, an all-pro machine, a leader on and off the field. So let's be real. No one is stepping into his shoes and instantly filling that gap. That kind of legacy takes years to build. But here's the twist. The Cowboys don't need Sadik Charles to be the next Zack Martin. What they need is someone who can hold the line, someone who can come in, compete, and contribute solid reps at a high level, whether that's as a starter or in a key rotational role. And based on his film from 2023, he just might be that guy. Charles earned a full-time starting role with Washington. Then in Tennessee, he won the starting right guard spot in camp before his sudden retirement. That doesn't happen by accident. You don't stumble into starting jobs in the NFL, you earn them, which means the talent and skill set are there. Now, I'm not saying the Cowboys should crown him the heir to Zack Martin right now, but what I am saying is that Charles has the tools, size, strength, aggressiveness, and a chip on his shoulder. That last one, that might be the most important. Guys who step away from football and come back usually return with one thing on their mind: proving people wrong. If Charles is coming back with that hunger, and the Cowboys coaches can get him firing on all cylinders, then yes, we might just have a rock-solid option in the trenches. So now it's your turn. If the season started today, would you trust Sadik Charles to start at guard? Tell me in the comments, yes or no, and don't just vote, tell me why. I'll be reading your takes, trust me. And hey, if you haven't yet, now's the perfect time to subscribe to the channel and smash that notification bell. We're pushing for 13,000 subscribers, and every new fan helps keep Cowboys Nation growing strong. Let's keep this momentum going. Next up, we'll talk about how this move changes the Cowboys' entire draft strategy. All right, now that we've looked at what Sadik Charles might bring to the table, in terms of replacing Zack Martin, or at least adding strength to the line, it's time to zoom out a little. Because this move, it's not just about plugging one hole, it's about changing the Cowboys' entire approach to the draft. Think about it, fan. When free agency started, offensive line was one of the biggest red flags on the roster. With Martin gone and depth looking shaky, the Cowboys were staring down the possibility of having to burn an early pick on a guard just to survive. But then, they made a string of smart, low-risk signings, Charles being the biggest sleeper among them. Now, the front office has breathing room. They've taken care of enough roster spots that they can walk into the draft without desperation. That's a powerful place to be. Instead of reaching for a guard in the second or third round, they can stick to their board and go after real difference makers. Maybe a top WR, maybe a dynamic RB, maybe even a steal at linebacker. That's what this move does. It opens doors. And it's not just about the starting five. Depth matters. Injuries are part of the game, and teams that survive the grind of a full season are the ones that can rotate in guys without a major drop-off. Charles gives the Cowboys that kind of flexibility. He might start. He might back up. But what's certain is this: he makes the roster better. Now let me hear from you. What position do you think the Cowboys absolutely must prioritize in the first round of the draft? Drop your pick in the comments. UR, RB, OL, something else? Let's see where the real needs are according to the fans. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Your support is what keeps this channel alive, and every new subscriber helps us push closer to that 13,000 mark. Coming up next, let's talk about what this move says about the Cowboys' real secret weapon, the culture shift inside the locker room. Here's the real kicker, fan, and maybe the most exciting part of this whole conversation. The signing of Sadik Charles isn't just about depth. It's not just about patching up the offensive line. It's a clear sign that the Cowboys are doubling down on something much bigger. Their belief in this new coaching staff and the culture they're building behind closed doors. Let's call it what it is, a bet on development. They didn't go after a flashy name. They didn't throw money at the biggest free agent out there. They went after a guy with raw talent, untapped potential, and the kind of upside that only shows up if someone in the building knows how to bring it out. That tells you something important. The Cowboys are confident, very confident, in their ability to develop players. And you know what? That's how great franchises are built. Not by overpaying for stars, but by turning good into great, and great into elite. And here's where it gets even more interesting. This isn't a one-off move. It's part of a pattern. These kinds of signings, smart, strategic, full of upside, are happening again and again this offseason. Why? Because the Cowboys are creating something crucial: competition. Nobody walks into camp with a guaranteed job anymore, and that's the kind of atmosphere that breeds champions. Every player has to earn it. Every rep matters. Every roster spot is up for grabs. So, ask yourself this, friend. Do you feel that shift? Is this team finally building the kind of culture that can push them over the hump? Drop a "I believe" in the comments if you're buying into the new Cowboys mentality. Let's flood the feed with optimism and show this team we're riding with them. And hey, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've got a lot more coming, and your support helps us stay in the game and hit that goal of 13,000 subscribers.